Democrats continue to militate against the acquittal of Daniel Penny in the subway case with Jordan Neely. Representative Jamaal Bowman, who, thank God, was primaried out in New York, he has an entire letter dedicated to white people. Here we go. Ready? Dear white people, capital W, capital P, white people. I don't know why I feel the need to keep talking to you. I don't know why part of me still has hope for you and for us. Some of you are too far gone. Maybe enough of you aren't and will join us in fighting to end white supremacy. I just want to call out the hypocrisy and evil of it all and just continue to hope. I won't rely completely on you because I know what's most important is to work with my community and other like-minded allies in the fight for justice. But I guess I'll just offer this. I'm 48 years old and I've seen countless incidents of police brutal violence and killings in my lifetime. The first black man I saw violently attacked on camera was Rodney King. Those officers were acquitted. So actually 2 of the 4 officers were convicted and did time in jail. Next, says Jamaal Bowman, was Eric Garner's murder and his cries of "I can't breathe." All he was doing was trying to sell a few cigarettes to survive an economy that failed him, and he was jumped and killed by police. Actually, he was refusing to comply with police orders, Eric Garner, and he was wildly overweight, and that is what caused his death. He had a heart attack, effectively speaking. The next video burned into my memory is the murder of Philando Castile, shot and bled to death by police on the live stream. Okay, that was indeed a terrible case in which Philando Castile reached for his ID and the cop panicked, and a wrongful death settlement was brought against the city, settled for about $4 million. Okay, so, yeah, again, Jamaal Bowman just goes on. The world saw George Floyd murdered. His murderer knelt on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. I cried and couldn't stop crying. I saw 5 black Memphis police officers beating a black man to death on camera. White supremacy is not skin color. It's a state of mind, which, of course, is an easy way to get out of the fact that none of these cases were actual white supremacy. Jordan Neely is the latest. He was sick. He was not a threat. He was shouting at everyone on the subway testified in the trial they were scared of Jordan Neely. He was subdued, still not a threat. Daniel Penny choked him for 6 minutes and killed him. We all watched it on camera and he was still acquitted. I wish I didn't have to live with all of this trauma deep in my bones, says Jamaal Bowman. I wish I could just be free to be me. I marvel at the beauty and greatness of my people in spite of white supremacy. It's extraordinary. That is what I will continue to lean on. R.I.P. Jordan Neely, the justice system failed you. Kyle Rittenhouse and Daniel Penny are free. You're gone. We must still fight. So first of all, Kyle Rittenhouse shot some white Antifa members, and he did so in self-defense. Daniel Penny was defending fellow subway riders from Jordan Neely. And the attempt to turn everything into a racial issue, I think that day is over, by the way. I think Americans are tired of it. They are sick of it, and they don't care about it anymore. But Democrats keep doubling down on it. Here were Democrats in front of the House of Representatives yesterday suggesting the full-scale commutation of all death row sentences because of race or something. I mean, we should note at this point that the people on death row are literally the worst people on planet Earth. The worst people who exist. We're talking about child and murderers, for example. But here are Democrats. It's pretty clear with whom they side.
Today, on Human Rights Day, we call on President Biden to do the right thing, to use his clemency authority to commute the death sentences of the 40 individuals on death row, to resentence them to a prison term, and to save lives. State-sanctioned murder is not justice. And the death penalty is a cruel, racist, and fundamentally flawed punishment that has no place in our society. It is deeply discriminatory and has disproportionately been weaponized against Black, brown, and low-income families for far too long. It is long past time for President Biden to make good on his campaign promise to address the federal death penalty. With 40 days left in his presidency, we must move with urgency and ensure that history never repeats itself.
Why the hell not? Why the hell not? Again, what a joke. You know what the radical left doesn't understand? The profound, unshakable bond between Christians and Jews in America. While the secular left pushes their anti-religious agenda, Christians and Jews have stood together defending our shared values and religious liberties. That's why I'm proud to partner with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. For over 40 years, they've been doing something remarkable, building bridges between our communities through faith, shared values, and mutual respect. And the fellowship doesn't just talk, they act. Right now, they're on the ground providing real help to vulnerable Jewish families and elderly around the globe. We're talking about food, medical care, emergency assistance, and security to people who need it most. As someone who spent years talking about Judeo-Christian values, I can tell you, this organization represents exactly what makes our alliance so powerful. It's about Christians and Jews coming together to do what our faiths command, helping those in need. If you want to be part of this incredible mission, visit benforthefellowship.org. That's benforthefellowship.org. Your support makes a real difference in people's lives. There are people on the ground suffering right now. The fellowship is doing amazing work. Go check them out right now. benforthefellowship.org. Once more, that's benforthefellowship.org. An excellent place to give. God bless and thank you. benforthefellowship.org. Go check them out right now. Daniel Penny, for his part, he's been speaking out. He says, listen, it's pretty obvious that these sort of left-wing policies have not worked. They've made people less safe. That's the reason why I had to stand up in the first place.
But how does it serve them to hurt you?
Just political gain. I mean, these are their policies that are, and I don't mean to get political. I don't really want to make any enemies, really, although I guess I have already. But I mean, these are their policies that have clearly not worked, that the people, the general population, are not in support of, yet their egos are too big just to admit that they're wrong.
Okay. Meanwhile, Penny also said, he was asked, would you have gone through this again, knowing that you'd get prosecuted, that you'd have to stand trial? Here was his answer.
The guilt I would have felt if someone did get hurt, if he did do what he was threatening to do, would never be able to live with myself. And I'll take 1 million court appearances and people calling me names and people hating me just to keep one of those people from getting hurt or killed.
Okay, well, that seems like the kind of person you want more of on the street. Democrats, of course, want apparently more Jordan Neelys on the street and fewer Daniel Pennys on the street. And that is not a call for people to die, obviously. That is a call for people to be kept safe from people who have serious mental illness, schizophrenia, massive drug problems, who liberals have decided to leave on the streets. Now, speaking of terrible policy, the Federal Trade Commission, under the execrable Lena Khan, has now decided that they are going to nix the merger between Kroger and Albertsons. The idea being that Kroger and Albertsons are competing with each other, and that's what's keeping prices low. Well, there's only one problem. Their market share as a general percentage of the supermarket industry has dropped radically over the years. Why? Because there are places like Target and, for example, Walmart that now sell groceries. And so consolidation is a way of competing to lower costs. Well, Lena Khan, who is an anti-market radical, appeared with Hassan Piker, who has now apparently been deemed worthy of decent conversation by the left. I mean, he was on Pod Save America the other day. It's amazing who they will elevate, truly amazing. And Lena Khan, the current FTC head, she says that they are going to go after this merger and cancel the merger between Albertsons and Kroger. Why? In order to increase labor costs artificially. Because the idea is if there were a merger, then you can't play the two sides off against one another in attempting to get labor. Okay, that is not how you how you block mergers. Okay, that is not what the FTC is designed to do. The FTC is not a unionization project. The Federal Trade Commission is meant to prevent monopoly that damages consumers. And here they are basically saying, we don't care if it damages consumers to block the merger. It's all about us pleasing our union base.
This decision being blocked, what kind of labor protections does that offer to people that are working at these corporations?
So one thing that our lawsuit alleged was that if this merger goes through, it's going to mean higher grocery prices for shoppers, but it's also going to be worse for the workers. And this is the first time that the FTC has ever sought to block a merger, not just because it's going to be bad for consumers, but also because it's going to be bad for workers. And, especially in recent decades, antitrust enforcers had not really been focused on the worker harms as much, and that's something we've really looked to change. So the complaint lays out how previously, when there has been competition between Kroger and Albertsons, that the workers at each store were able to use that competition as leverage when they were trying to bargain. And that if you allow these two companies to merge, that leverage that comes from having a potential alternative employer or an alternative store where customers can go if there's a strike, but eliminating that leverage point and bargaining leverage would ultimately be bad for workers.
That is not the job of the Federal Trade Commission. That is a psychotic perspective on economics. It is markedly worse for consumers. You're artificially increasing the price of labor by preventing a perfectly market-efficient merger from happening because you want to increase the price of labor. That's what she is talking about right there. Well, good news, she's going to be gone. Trump's going to get rid of her. President-elect Trump on Tuesday announced Andrew Ferguson was going to lead the FTC. He is currently already a member of the agency. That's great. He's a veteran congressional aide. He's a former Supreme Court clerk. He doesn't need to be confirmed because he's already on the FTC. Ferguson is all for economic efficiency. He has vowed to extend his regulatory scope to target social media sites that police conservative voices as well. Andrew Ferguson will be an excellent change to the idiocy of Lena Khan, who is indeed a deeply radical human being. By the way, Donald Trump is ready to open up this economy to a boom. So yesterday, he promised via Truth Social that any person or company investing $1 billion or more in the United States, quote, will receive fully expedited approvals and permits, including but in no way limited to all environmental approvals. Good. Okay, that is a pro-investment idea. Streamlining the process of investment. I mean, it should be done for everybody. I would hope that it happens for everybody. But if you're about to sink $1 billion into the American economy, it seems to me that we should probably rush your approval process. Good for President Trump. This is the thing about Trump. Regardless of his ideology, the man's a pragmatist, and he would like to see a booming American economy. That is for damn sure. Are you tired of the lies and the twists of the mainstream media talking points? Yeah, me too. Join me in my newest series, Fact, where I dismantle and bring truth to this tiring mainstream agenda.